Well, it's kind of, dude, it's kind of a slept on concept these days because the way I hear a lot of kids frame it these days to kind of like justify not working as hard is they'll be like, oh, well, work to live, not live to work, or collect experiences, not things, or whatever. And like, I kind of, on its face, I agree with all those things, but there's also this concept of like, even within that, let's say you want to have experiences. Well, if you can delay gratification for a couple years, maybe in a 40-year span, you have many much better experiences. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we could talk an entire podcast on that. Like, I live my life around experiences. I feel like at the end of the day, when you look back at life, there's going to be three things that are really important, at least for me, and that is experiences, memories, and relationships. Because I think a lot about like purpose and what I really want in my life to make sure I live with no regrets, and that's my belief. And so, but I do believe that a lot of times, especially millennials now, young people, it's all about that instant dopamine hit. It's about that instant gratification.
Yeah.
And I've got 4 kids, ages 9 through 18 now, and one of my primary goals is to teach them about the power of delayed gratification. It's a lost art form. And I think Summer Sales did a great job of teaching me that, man. My first summer, I went out, my first week I sold 1 account and it ended up being a sub 600 credit score. I shouldn't have installed. I didn't know better. So I got $200. Later on, the technician had to come back and pull out the system, and they charged me back the $200. My first week. My first month, I sold 7 accounts, which is pretty shitty, man. Honestly, like that. Yeah. And I'd always been pretty successful, whatever I put my mind to. And so that was really, really hard for me, man. Midway through the summer, I was still struggling. I can't remember the exact numbers. It was, maybe 30, 40 accounts. And back then I was making $295 a sell, right? and half the team had quit by the midsummer. And then one of the guys on the team actually ended up getting shot in the leg. Somebody sniped him with a .22 caliber while he was out knocking. This is Chicago, right?
Chicago,
so
right?
It kind of makes sense. But by the end of the summer, 80% of the team had quit. But I was able to stick through it and just grind through it. And I realized this was going to be hard, but I knew I was going to learn a lot from that, right? The grit, the tenacity, the relentless pursuit of the goal, not quitting, just not tucking your tail between your legs and going home. I knew it was going to set a precedence for the rest of my professional career, because that was my first career, right? If you will, my first job, like real job.
Adult job,
yeah. Yeah, as an adult. And so, but I'm so grateful, man, looking back at that, because I was able to end the summer at 121 accounts, which I earned $31,000, which for me, even to this day, that's the most valuable or meaningful money I've ever made in my life.
Right.
It's more than my parents ever made. It was enough for me to be able to come back the next year and be a sales manager. And I made $157,000.
It's like the first water bottle in a desert.
It was incredible. Honestly, man, it changed the trajectory of my life. And if I would have quit and gone home, who knows where I would have been today. I mean, I remember as a kid, or as a teenager, thinking, hey, best case scenario in my life, like if I play all my cards right, I might be able to get to a point where I can make $100,000 in a year, right? Like that was like the very, very, like epitome of success for me, right? In that second year as a sales manager, I made $157,000. Came back the next year, and I was as a top first year sales manager. Next year as a regional manager, made 250 something, and the next year 500 something.
And this is all like
from there.
Early 2000s money. So big money.